night with you here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Gabriel Morency. Big night in the NBA. There are some college basketball games. The NIT is back underway. A couple to choose from in Major League Baseball. And there are a few really good NBA games tonight, but there is one game that I may just do whatever Gabe says on the game. We've had a few head-to-heads. I don't mind them. I actually think they're quite fun. Yesterday, Gabe got a good one with Boston over Miami. Quick story on that. Miami started that game 20-18. I then didn't see the game for a little bit, got a phone call from someone. They go, by the way, hate to say it, I did agree with Gabe about Boston. And I responded with, you would never say that if Miami is winning. What is the score? And they go, yeah, Boston scored 53 in the first quarter. I did not think that was true. They're like, Miami's down 20. I said, all right, one for Gabe. So, Gabe, I'm happy to get after it again. Tonight, we got a couple of good ones to choose from.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think you need a Miami Heat intervention right now. Right? They're just, and similar to the Orlando Magic, right? They're sort of proving.
Stinks.
Yeah, and, listen, we called it, right? They sort of exhaled after finally winning a basketball game, and then reality kicked in again last night, and Atlanta are just that much better than they are. But I think, Kevin, the Orlandos and specifically the Miami Heats of the world, if you need games at this time of the year, you're not a very good team, right? Let's just call it out for what it is, with the exceptions of we're battling for the, the top seed in the conference, etc. And I keep on hearing Spoelstra talking like the positivity about, wow, you know what? I love the resiliency. We've been fighting back and battling back all year. It's like, dude, the wheels have fallen off for like the past month. And you brought it up since the Adebayo game that he went off. The wheels, like they've lost literally now, 8 of their last 9 games. Like literally, the wheels have fallen off. But they weren't the only ones. The Toronto Raptors lose to the Sacramento Kings last night, which is being called by Toronto beat writers and people that cover the team the worst loss of the season, right? You figure this team takes a couple of steps forward, and what happens? They come out flatter than a 2-day-old Budweiser, and they lose to the Sacramento Kings last night. The NBA is a night-to-night league, Kevin, I'll tell you what, but I'm a little disappointed tonight with the NBA, only in the sense because every game there's just sort of a, but. Right? There's always that sort of but. Listen, Minnesota and Detroit, it's not a but that's Detroit's fault that Cade Cunningham is injured, but they are 6-2 without Cade Cunningham so far this year. Phoenix, Charlotte, exciting basketball game. But Devin Booker isn't playing. San Antonio Spurs and the LA Clippers tonight. But Wembanyama's not playing tonight. There's a lot of buts on the board tonight, so I guess the Lakers and Oklahoma City take center stage tonight.
Yeah, they really do. I will say, and listen, it's the NBA. I could be wrong. I think Devin Booker is playing, though that would be music to my ears as somebody who will be on Charlotte tonight.
Oh, you know what? He wasn't listed earlier, Kevin. He wasn't listed earlier. Now he is listed on the player props, but the number feels strange to me. So is Dylan Brooks playing? I want to get their starting lineup because if it's 6.
Brooks is back.
So, we knew Brooks was back. So I'm saying, I thought Booker was going to be out tonight. He was supposed to be out tonight, but why would the number still be 6? That's what I don't understand. I'm asking you, don't you think now that Dylan Brooks is back, and what about Green out tonight? No? According to no? I want to get their starting lineup. Why are they getting 6 points, Kevin?
Yeah, I laid it with Charlotte because
again,
as long as you and
head here.
Well, all right, so we're off to a hot start already, which is not what I was signing up for here. Charlotte is priced like such a good team. This is a Charlotte team who, the other day, laid this same number to Philly. They were home favorites to Boston. So when I see these Charlotte numbers,
they did lose that game, it should be noted.
They lost both of those games, in fact, Gabe. So tonight, it could be a situation where they don't step up to the plate.
They've hit a little bit of a wall, Kevin, haven't they?
They started to struggle against better teams. I 100% concede that. But Phoenix does not beat good teams on the road. They do not beat good teams on the road. It's been a long time since they beat a playoff team on the road. Now, maybe they stay inside the number. I think they're still the best ATS team in the league, but I am trusting Charlotte in this spot. Well, we can go head-to-head. Won't be the first, won't be the last.
I think Phoenix are a better team than Charlotte.
Oh, no. They're not better. You don't think they're better. Come on. You love this Charlotte team.
I do like this Charlotte team, but this Phoenix team.
You laid 18 with them a week ago.
Yeah, they were playing the Washington Wizards that night. So,
a little different. All right, fair enough.
No, it's like, what are you, Craig Mish? Because I got a helmet behind me. They're my favorite team. You know what I mean? It's just because I bet on Charlotte. Yeah, it doesn't mean I'm attached to them, Kevin. Hey, son. But all kidding aside.
Yeah.
No, Phoenix would be good to me this year. And Phoenix would be even better, bro, if they didn't have the injury problems that they had. Right, this year. They've had like long periods of time where they've been missing Booker, they've been missing Brooks. Guys have been out, they've been missing Green. Guys have been out, and they've really this thing is sort of like stuck together for them. For me, when I just looked at this game originally, like I said, I didn't think Booker was playing, and I was like, man, the point spread, okay, it is what it is, but if Phoenix are locked and loaded and they've got their lineup, Kevin, I'm taking the points in this game. I think they're going to have their hands full here. The Charlotte Hornets will have their hands full. Phoenix just aren't going to roll over.
Fair enough. It's funny. I legitimately did not see any way within the first segment we'd end up head to head, and that's where we ended up. So let's try this one then, Gabe. Because you said I need a Heat intervention. I think actually I've been okay picking Miami Heat spots. Yesterday obviously was not the case. Where I might need an intervention is I keep trying to bet against the Cade Cunningham-less Detroit Pistons. And every line is short, and every game they win. But without Anthony Edwards, this thing's up to 5.5 now. And I'm wondering if it's a little rich. Is it a little rich all of a sudden on Detroit at 5.5?
Is there even a point, Kevin, of even handicapping an NBA game before 6 o'clock Eastern?
Certainly not, Gabe. You know that. I put a Spurs Clipper total in. All of a sudden, Wemby's out. I don't know. What's the point?
So for the record, I had to fire off a hot email before the show started. Oh, by the way, Wembanyama erased my Wembanyama rebound prop pick. Anthony Edwards was playing. I didn't think Devin Booker was, and now I thought Anthony Edwards was, but now he isn't. Let me ask you this. Isn't he worth more than 1.5 points?
Oh, I'm not betting this game. Not betting this game. Nope. I'm not doing 2 for 2.
With Anthony Edwards to 5 without him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's kind of like strange. I always think there's an overreaction to point spreads and players and what they're worth to the spread and stuff like that.
I agree.
Yeah, don't tell me Anthony Edwards' absence is only worth 1.5 points. It's impossible to make that argument. I think they were probably splitting the difference a little bit because Ant has done this now for a couple of games where they're like, oh, Ant's coming back. I will say this, Gabe, though. Minnesota beat writers were kind of quote tweeting the update that Ant was missing with like, whoa, didn't see that. Like, this was supposed to be the Anthony Edwards return game, and it's not. So that's where you wonder if a guy like Randall, right, or a guy like Gobert, did they think they were getting their guy back, and now it's a big adjustment on the fly? Like, how stunned are guys in that locker room? Usually the beat reporters have a good feel for this kind of stuff. They're surprised that Anthony Edwards isn't playing in this basketball game tonight. Naz Reid is the guy, Kevin, in Edwards-less games that steps up often. His numbers, they don't adjust very much, and he has bigger games when Ant-Man ain't there. We'll keep rolling NBA after the break.
All right, it's going to be a fun night in the NBA. We know that already. I think we can establish that off the bat here. Charlotte, Phoenix, we're in a likely head-to-head. Detroit, Minnesota. I want to bet Minnesota, but I don't know if I will. And then all of a sudden, there's nothing on until 9:30. So it's a weird way they've kind of set up this NBA slate. But it's the Thunder and it's the Lakers, and it's maybe, one final chance to sneak into this MVP race for Luka Doncic. If it was going to happen, it not only needs to be a big performance, but it probably needs to be an outright victory as well. And I'm not sure even a big performance and a victory would do it for Luka, but that's the floor. Luckily, the big performances usually seem to be guaranteed. Luka Doncic just finished the month of March averaging 37.5 points per game. He scored 40 in his last 3. He's averaging 40 over his last 13 basketball games here, Gabe. 31.5, 32.5 is where we're seeing these Luka numbers tonight against OKC.
And rightfully so, as insane as it sounds. Now, listen, we look at the modern NBA and we see the totals have never been higher, right? I'm old enough to remember when NBA All-Star totals were like 270 and stuff and 264. Right? These are regular season games now. Kevin, it was blowing my mind last night. I was looking and you talked about it. You liked the Miami Heat last night. Well, they scored 129 points. You figure, wow, probably won the game, did pretty well. No, you lost by 20 plus.
Yep.
And there was another one. There was another one, Kevin. Which game was it? There were a lot of blowouts last night, but it went under the number, and it got to 249, and it went under.
Oh.
Because last night, almost every game went over. There was only a few of them went under, and one of them got to 249.
Oh, probably the Nuggets game, right? If I had to guess.
The Nuggets game. Thank you. Yeah, Nuggets. Yeah, exactly. Who was it? With Nuggets versus a bad team. Who did they play last night? The Jazz. Thanks. Yeah.
They never cover against the Jazz.
So they got to 249 and the game stayed under. That's the modern NBA, Kevin. Imagine.
That's the Utah Jazz.
You dropped 249 points. Son of a bitch. Yeah. I lost my overbet. They didn't hit enough shots. So I don't want to. Right. I don't want to diminish some of these numbers that are being put up, right? Shout out to my boy Glenn Rice that you've acknowledged. Actually, there's a difference, winning an NBA. You know what I mean? Doing it oh yeah, he was playing against Bird and Jordan and stuff, and he won the 3-point contest. It's a little bit different now, today's day and age. Bunch of kids go off and score 20 plus for a couple of nights in a row, but what Luka's doing really is unbelievable. It's just it's beyond insane. To put in context, guys, as Kevin just went over some of his numbers, Luka Doncic has 32 or more points in 11 of his last 13 games. Luka Doncic hasn't scored less than 30 points in a game since March 5th.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. He's been spectacular. The thing when I look at the Luka numbers tonight, and it's incredible because as high as it is, it does feel like the numbers are giving a lot of respect to OKC. Because when you think about how he's
one of
playing,
the better defensive teams. Yeah, they are.
Gabe, how he's playing in the narrative of it all, right?
But
Luka should get to 35, no problem. But the question is, will the Lakers stay in the game? I think that's the big question tonight when you're betting this basketball game.
And I think they will. I'm glad, I want to get into this because Oklahoma City have been on fire, right? But the difference is last year they were winning games and covering point spreads. It was insane, right? I mean, they ended up the season 83-10 or something against the spread. It was stupid. It was you got to be kidding me. And they were laying big numbers. Now they're winning games all the time. They don't get credit for it, like we talked about, 15-1 or whatever in 16 games, and people think somehow they're struggling. Yet when it comes to covering numbers, classic example. Look, the 9-1 straight up last 10, 4-6 against the spread. In their last 4 games, they're 1-3 against the spread. And now you're laying a lot of points here against the Los Angeles Laker team that I think can play with them. They lost by 9 the last time they played, but I think it was in one of those injury games. Not a lot of guys played in that game. They played earlier in November. I can't really hang my hat on that one. I think the point spread's too high. I lost betting against Oklahoma City the other night, Kevin, with the Knicks getting the points, but now we're getting the same range. I think the Lakers are more suited to play with Oklahoma City than the Knicks are, actually. So I'm tempted by the points tonight with the Lakers, but as you were saying, I don't know if like there's ever been something as automatic as these two players, Kevin.
Yeah.
And honestly, like there's a lot of stuff going. Like SGA guys just like past Wilt Chamberlain. The guy had like 128 games in a row of 20 plus points, right? And you see him. It's just it's not. It's like it's almost like A-Cuff's 28 in the game. Like SGA never takes a game over, right? It's never like, oh my God, this guy's unbelievable. Like, look at this guy. No, it's just sort of take it to the rack, take it to the rack, take it to the rack. Like
the game's point, Shea does score 40 a lot.
Yeah, and then,
like Anthony Edwards has more
sort of like
than SGA.
It's just like 8 points here, 9 points there, and then the fourth quarter he dials it up. I'll give you another 13 in the fourth. But at the end of the night, he's at 32, 33, 34 every night, bro. Like it's unbelievable.
Impressive.
I think they both go over tonight. SGA and Luka. This will be the square edge, same game parlay. I mean, dude, played them both
each
to score
for 30
plus.
Yeah,
yep.
Plus 145. It's hard to not play it. The one thing that I did play using these guys, and listen, did I overthink it? Maybe. I hope not. DraftKings has these head-to-head markets, but also where you can combine guys. I took them to combine for 6 made threes. Luka might hit this on his own. Shea's been shooting more threes. And I like Shea to make threes in big games because he kind of feels like it's like the one element where they pick on him. Luka right now, this run that he's on, a lot of it has to do with the deep ball. Yesterday, 6 made threes, 5, 4. There's games 9, 7. He starts every game pretty much at 4. So I took him to combine for 6 threes. The one pick in this game that a lot of people wouldn't expect, we're going to get to Craig, we'll get back to these games. LeBron under rebounds plus assists. It's 12.5. It's a little high for what this game requires. We'll get into that. We'll talk to Craig, some Connor Griffin news, game time decisions on SportsGrid. Game time decisions on Sports Grid. We're joined by Craig Mish, host of Newswire Pro Baseball Today, covering all things Major League Baseball for us here on the grid. Of course, does an incredible job with the Miami Marlins. And Craig, yesterday we talked very briefly that there was some news around Connor Griffin. I don't know if we realized that it was going to then immediately lead to Griffin being called up. I guess the thing I'm a little interested in, and maybe you aren't as much, do you think Connor Griffin is being called up because of he's hitting 400 in the 5 AAA games he played, or Pittsburgh's close to getting a deal done here with a potential superstar?
It does feel like it's got to be close. But again, we've talked timing, Kevin, and look, so I'm not going to be right about certainly a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm 50-50 like the rest of us, but we do realize that Pittsburgh's opening up at home, right? Like tomorrow, like like in his first game at home, and look, it's all goodwill, man. Like that's a big part of these extensions, and it just continues with this. But to your point, I'm going to guess they have something worked out. I know there have been some reports that say they have not, so we'll just have to wait and see. If Griffin wins Rookie of the Year, then Pittsburgh would get, I believe, a compensatory first-round pick, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. There's certainly no guarantee of him doing that, but there is value for the Pirates in calling him up, getting a pick. Even if he doesn't win, he finishes second, they would get a pick as well. I don't think people realize the value of those draft picks.
Well, the idea of him winning Rookie of the Year, the sports books immediately positioned Connor Griffin as the favorite. Now, he's not an Ohtani, level favorite. He's not minus money. But am I being too dismissive of the rest of the NL rookies and saying I think it would be a disappointment if Connor Griffin didn't win Rookie of the Year, Craig?
That's a stretch. I mean, Benj and the Mets, and there's a lot of other players that are going to be very much in the mix here. I mean, Griffin's a really good player. I mean, to throw like a Bobby Witt on him this early, I would not do that. Still very young. Showed he needed some more development, I thought, in the minor leagues, but he's off to a great start. I think they are doing the right thing by calling him up, but I would disagree with that. I don't think that you can predict any rookie to just fly out of the gates and become amazing. Like a couple of years, well, not a couple, I think we would have said 3 years ago, it would have been a disappointment. Like we could have had the same question about Jared Kelenic. Remember when he was traded with the Mets in Seattle, and you would have said, wow, like this guy is a can't miss superstar type. Same sort of hype behind him than there was with Griffin. Griffin a little bit younger, probably a little bit better, but I am never going to just bank on a rookie to win that award. Can't do it.
Yeah, he sits at plus 350. So again, it's not seen as a foregone conclusion. I feel as if the hype around Griffin is, a bit different, right? We're talking about a teenager, first time really since Juan Soto, where you're going to get a full season out of a teenage ball player here. We'll see, how he can deliver. Speaking of Juan Soto, Craig, it's interesting. You look around the bigs right now, and there's a lot of superstars off to these really slow starts.
Sure.
Judge, Ohtani, Cal Raleigh, whomever,
Harper.
you really want to. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Harper, that might be a different category in its own right.
Right.
Soto, just Soto, batting 340. It's a home run early here. Again, it's so hard to imagine someone knocking Ohtani off of the MVP perch if he's healthy. But I do feel like Soto's going to give him at least a run for his money.
Yeah, I do too. See, so we're about to hit the really unfortunate part of the calendar for Major League Baseball for the next week, which is baseball tries, Kevin, we talked about this, I think yesterday, the day before, they try to do everything possible to keep these teams in the Northeast and the Midwest away from opening day. They try so hard to put them in Miami or St. Petersburg or in domes, like all over. Kevin, time's up now, like that's it. you got to start playing these games at home. And I do have a feeling that the weather, unfortunately, is going to play a big factor this weekend. It looks like cold weather, some rain. And look, without the domes, there's really not much you can do. So I can't judge, no pun intended, any of these guys until we get really to mid-month or out of this month. And then I think you get a better sense of it. But unfortunately, it does seem to me, I saw what the weather forecast is this weekend. It seems like pretty cold for a lot of these spots.
I will say though, because I'm glad that you mentioned it. As someone who occasionally will bag on baseball for missing some easy things, they did, avoid the Yankees opening or the Mets opening or the Red Sox opening and these nightmare
White Sox already
situations.
rained out today.
Yeah. All right.
Tough.
Great stuff as always from Craig. We'll be right back. Game time decisions. We are here on a Thursday night. Let us venture outside of the NBA, see kind of where it takes us. It's a very light baseball card in that there were only 4 scheduled. Weather canceled White Sox, Blue Jays. The Twins beat KC, got their lick back yesterday after they kind of lit up, really. Although that game got weird. I think 12-1, finished 13-9. Royals, Twins. There's 2 to go. It's D-backs hosting Atlanta, and it's the Giants against the New York Mets out in the Bay Area, Gabe. Are you going to be betting on either of those 2 baseball games, or maybe more so adding some hockey to the card?
Well, you know what? I'm more intrigued by the college basketball tonight. I might be a glutton for punishment, but I am looking forward to the Crown and the NIT games that we'll get to. But listen, you got the New York Mets, you've got the San Francisco Giants. It's a high-profile marquee matchup series going down. You got 2 teams that are struggling offensively right now. You know, in the past 5 games, guys, the New York Mets are 6 for 53, Kevin, with runners in scoring position. 6 for 53, hitting 113 with runners in scoring position. And then you have a San Francisco offense that's absolutely anemic as well. I'm looking at this total tonight at 7.5, and I'm hard-pressed to see how both teams get to 8 runs tonight.
Yeah, I am curious if Lindor and Devers individually step up.
As you saw, Kevin. You watched
he absolutely did. So did David Peterson against Pittsburgh.
5 1/3. Exactly. Both pitchers pitched well in their debuts.
Yeah. We'll see if these offenses can turn it around, but maybe an under 7.5 tonight. I think Lindor and Devers play well. So, if you're looking for props on the baseball board, I think they're worth an eye. You've got this Sabres game tonight, by the way, just quickly with the NHL board here. I am pretty sure this is the second time Buffalo has been an underdog since we ended up in March or February. Or I believe it's since like February, or March. Yeah, since March started. I got it right here. So since March, Gabe, began, this is the second time we've seen this team booked as an underdog. Now, it's a long season. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I think it's going to jump right off the page to people with Buffalo heading to Ottawa.
And quite frankly, I don't understand why Ottawa would be favorites over a smoking hot Buffalo Sabre team. Talking about an Ottawa Senator team, guys, that have lost 3 straight games right now. And they're one of these teams, Kevin, watching their post-game press conferences. I saw their goalie, Allmark, the other night. It was a couple of days ago. This is when we're going to find out who wants it in this room. This is gut check time. And I believe in the room and all that. Well, you keep losing. It's been 3 in a row right now. Kevin, it's like a marathon, literally and figuratively, right? The NHL season, these teams, and a real marathon, man, when the runners are, on the 22nd and 23rd mile, they've hit the wall. And it's just basically like trying to survive to get to the end. I think Buffalo sort of take a step closer to pushing Ottawa off the cliff tonight. Give me the Buffalo Sabres tonight.
Fair enough. By the way, yesterday's NHL card featured probably one of the most stunning results you will see in any regular.
What a night
Vancouver.
Last night, think about it. Sacramento beating the Raptors last night.
Huge
think about
dogs.
just the dogs. You throw a parlay together. Sacramento beating the Raptors outright last night. Colorado Rockies beat the Toronto Blue Jays yesterday. And the Vancouver Canucks, Kevin, somehow, dude, like I said last night, it would take an act of God, I think my words were last night, for Vancouver to win the game.
Well,
I did throw out there, and I can't even lie, because this is the best story ever. I didn't share it, Kevin. You're going to like this. Yesterday, I didn't bet the Blue Jay Rocky game, all right? I'm doing stuff. I taped the MMA show. I'm doing a bunch of stuff. I'm busy. I look up. The Blue Jays are winning 1-0 in like the 7th inning, okay? And I'm like, Raptors are playing the Kings tonight, but I don't really want to lay the price. And Vancouver, and I'm in Vancouver, so I'm like, Vancouver playing Colorado tonight. Let me put this parlay together, whatever. Well, I should win, right? I'm like, Blue Jays, Raptors.
Wow.
0 for 3. And I'm thinking, dear God, imagine if he took the other 3 sides. But this is the one thing with Colorado. We saw it like a week and a half ago. Remember, Pittsburgh went in there and did this to them. Right? And they were big favorites against the Penguins, and same thing. Penguins scored like 6 goals in the first 2 periods. Has to be a little bit of a concern moving forward a little bit, just with Colorado in the back of our minds about their flakiness. And I'll throw this out here quickly tonight, Kevin, so speaking of the Vancouver Canucks, last night they play in Denver. They win the game. They score 8 goals. Big night for them. They're feeling good about it. The coach was happy. And Adam Foote is a former Colorado Avalanche player, of course. Tonight, Kevin, they're playing the Minnesota Wild in Minnesota. Quinn Hughes from Team USA, big star. He was the Vancouver Canucks captain. He got traded like 2 months ago. You'd think that this guy is like Lee Harvey Oswald type thing. Like, people really do not like him. Like, the game is in Minnesota, but people in Vancouver are debating whether it's sleazy to hate him or not, right? And I say go ahead and hate him. He's kind of like a jerk to me. So, but I say go ahead and hate him. I don't know. Can Vancouver do it again, Kevin? That's the question. Like, they're massive underdogs again tonight. Can they do it again tonight, back to back?
No. Come on. Here's the thing. It's one thing if you win an ugly game. Like, they scored 8 goals against Colorado. They scored 8 goals against the Avs.
I know. The thing is with Vancouver, let me just throw this out here. This is how bizarre it is, Kevin. Vancouver are 14, 19, and 3 on the road. It's not bad, actually. It's like, you want to be 500 on the road. It's like, if you saw that, you'd be like, all right, it must be having a decent year. Who the hell is 14, 19, and 3 on the road and 8, 25, and 5 at home?
Yeah, it's
They've
not
won
supposed
8
to look
times.
like that.
They literally are a better road team. Like, they don't suck on the road. I tell people this all the time. Anyone knows, the Canucks knows. I brought it up last night. I said, I don't see how they win, but I said they are like pretty good on the road for whatever reason, this team. They're a good road team. And hell, they were like above 500 for a lot of the year. It just finally fell off over the last month and a half or so, even on the road. But they are dangerous on the road here. But it feels like it's a Minnesota spot tonight. That Vancouver were good a night too early.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about, like, I don't know if there's another team. Just again, my eyes, and I would not trust my hockey eyes, quite frankly. I often don't. But like Minnesota, Tampa Bay, like this Pittsburgh team running a little too hot here, Lightning off a loss, minus 101. That jumps out a little bit. Okay, fair enough.
I don't trust it. I'm telling you, Tampa are another one. These good teams, Kevin, kind of eyes on the playoffs a little bit. Pittsburgh fighting for their lives. And Pittsburgh have been a scrappy underdog, man. Pittsburgh are on a massive overrun right now, too. They're 8-2 to the over in their last 10. We talked about 5-1. Look, they just beat Detroit 5-1. They just beat the Islanders 8-3. They beat Ottawa 4-3 in a shootout. They did lose to Dallas 6-3, but you get the theme. Pittsburgh have been scoring goals. And I think Tampa are kind of, I don't know. I think Pittsburgh have sort of more motivation coming into tonight. Look, we gave the Boston Bruins the other night against the Dallas Stars in Boston. They got it done. Florida are waving the flag on the season right now, Kevin. I think the Boston Bruins beat the Florida Panthers tonight. There's a ton of Bostonians in the Florida area and stuff. Panther fans were bandwagoners. They didn't care before the team was good. They'll start to not go. I think the Bruins win on the road tonight.
One other thing, I'm just curious. It's less a betting thing, but Connor McDavid is on a 5-game streak with a goal. He has it. I mean, I don't know if he can actually do it, but what has he got? 7 games to get 7 goals for his second 50-goal season. It'd be impressive. I don't know if he can do it, but he might, right?
Yeah.
If anyone could, I mean, there's a lot more on his plate without Leon. We'll get back to the NBA. We'll get to the NIT, the Crown, all right here on Game Time Decisions.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't he be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manu Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Italy can't make the World Cup. That's wildly embarrassed.
You know, Italy, to me, I think they're like the Cowboys, right? They're the Dallas Cowboys, basically. They're this ultimate sort of public team, big merch, like, you know, monsters.
That's a good one.
Yet they really haven't won in a while. But we're talking about a world superpower.
Game Time Decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Last year, this is kind of where Kalshi got on the radar, I think. They started with the Super Bowl last year, right, where they started taking a little bit of betting on the Super Bowl, but March Madness is where it took off. And over the course of the entire men's and women's tournaments last year, they took about $500 billion in trades. This year, first weekend, Thursday through Sunday, they're already past $1 billion traded.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
As a former pitcher who thought the umpires were wrong far more than people let on, I like the ABS system. But you're going to have problems because umpires are going to start having issue with the fact that they're being called out. Well, here's the thing. Umpires are now going to be treated like players. they're going to get publicly embarrassed when they make mistakes in front of the fans.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
All right, back with you here on SportsGrid. Let's get to the NIT and the Crown. I did get a little bit involved with the NIT, so I'll let you go first, Gabe.
Can I just bring one thing up to you, Kevin? Because, I've seen the video, and it's on TV and stuff. So, we talked about the April Fool's jokes. Do you see the Washington Wizards with their $10,000 prank?
The shot?
Yeah, so the Wizards put a blindfold on somebody. He took the shot. They pretended it went in. They told him he won $10K. Yet it turned out that he was in on it. So he was a team employee. So it's just so cheap of the Wizards and so stupid. It just sort of made everybody so angry. But I just literally don't understand. And maybe you know, like, what is UP? Why is the Montreal Canadiens former Expos mascot there? And like, why is Grit Sport at a Washington Wizards game? I have a lot of questions about this mascot thing. Like, I don't know if you noticed, all the mascots seem to be together, and they're together everywhere all week. If you saw the video of all the Philadelphia mascots, like walking the streets of Washington, I don't know what the hell's going on in the mascot world, Kevin, but all hell's broken loose. Yeah, they got
you're right.
The Predator mascots on the court over here.
The Tigers mascot is out there. The Suns mascot is out there. The Denver Nuggets mascot is out there.
Yeah, they're all there.
Yeah,
wow. That's the most stars on the Washington Wizards court all year.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. But it's interesting. See, I'll be honest. I don't know what it is. I might be getting old quick. I saw this whole thing. I scrolled right past it. I don't really care. Apparently people were upset. And they're like, I was like, I don't care. So I scrolled past it. So I'm now just kind of quick watching the video here. But who is the prank supposed to be on? Right? Because, like, did they think that they were treating their fans to a fun experience? They didn't actually want to prank someone? Did the fans get pranked in the process? I don't understand.
It's just angered the fans. That's all it did. Because the fans just thought that they were like jerks for stiffing a real fan. And then after, the team has to release a statement saying, no, it was a joke gone wrong. It was actually an employee. So then fans don't even matter. So you guys have fake contests at your games. So it was just a bad idea. I tell you, this is why salary caps won't change anything, all right? Bad franchises do bad things, Kevin. You know what I'm saying?
You know what, though, man?
The Cleveland Browns. Todd Monken missed the NFL head coach's photo shoot because the guy was getting his hair cut.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you think? You're on a coverage team, coach? You're sitting next to Andy Reid, bro. Put on a golf shirt, shut up, and sit down. Oh, I got to get my hair done. What? You think you're on the cover of magazine? Come on.
Come on with this team, though, right? I mean, I'm just now scrolling through this team's Twitter account, right? And it's the score after the third quarter. They're losing 120 to 103. Final score, they're losing 153, 131.
Imagine
media
being the
availability.
It has to run that account, Kevin.
Like, if it didn't, that's what I'm saying, right? You're like, hold on. I have to now take time away from tweeting out our losing scores to rip an apology for an April Fool's joke? You can't be serious, guys. And then the next tweet is Keyshawn George done for the season. Come on, guys.
I like to see this guy. I like to see some kid in a bar just looking all stressed out after every Wizard game. Someone asking the bartender, what do you do? I run the Washington Wizards social media account. He's just sitting there in misery. Yeah.
Also,
here's a dunk from, Kubalay dunked once when we were down by 18. You got to get a little clip of it. But, all kidding aside, I thought it was funny. But as far as the NIT is concerned tonight, they're playing in Indianapolis.
Sorry, but how did this poor son of a gun, Anthony Gill, get picked to be on the graphic for the final score and have to do the media availability? He didn't even start. How does he get wrapped into this Anthony Gill, who most of these fans don't even, he's averaging 5 a night?
That's the
Poor
wizard. So they
Anthony
tell
Gill,
him, hey,
man.
listen, hey, Anthony, you're up. It's your turn. It's your turn to deal with the media.
Oh, my
Like,
goodness,
what a
man.
franchise. Like I said, there's some really poorly run teams in this world.
You
out
ain't
there,
kidding.
right? Yeah. There's some real bad teams. But
Yeah, go for
as far as the NIT is concerned tonight, listen, man, you got this Tulsa, New Mexico game is kind of intriguing, isn't it? And Tulsa live and die by the 3. And New Mexico defend the 3 very well, Kevin. New Mexico, one of the better perimeter defending teams in college basketball, specifically on the road. It's like that defense travels well type thing. You know, you're putting them on a neutral court here and at the Butler Fieldhouse, Hinkle Fieldhouse, Butler's Arena. Nice, cool venue and stuff, but I don't trust, a team that lives and dies by the 3, like just dropping them into Butler Hinkle Fieldhouse against the New Mexico Lobo team is going to kind of scrap this game up a little bit. I find. I think the Lobos win a close one, guys. I'm not in love with the point spread here. Like, it wouldn't shock me if the Lobos won, 70-68. It's a 2-point game, and they're like 3.5, 4, so it's a little pricey there. But I tell you what, Kevin. Illinois State are fired up to play in this game tonight, and it's close to campus.
Yeah.
They're going to take this. How many Auburn fans you think are excited to go to Indianapolis? Come on. Yeah, I mean, they want to be in the NCAA tournament compared to Illinois State. Like, this is real for them. Like, this is what these tournaments are, these teams are for. And it was 6. I liked Illinois State at 6, Kevin. It's up to 8 right now. It's up to 8. I got to take the underdog here against the Auburn Tigers, who are like the 249th ranked defensive team in the country.
So a couple of things with this one tonight. I did take a chance on a Tulsa team total. I don't know if they're better than New Mexico, but they got back the guy Green who can help them score a little bit on the inside, 79.5. Illinois State is 3-0 against the spread in this tournament. Auburn is here in the semis. They've yet to cover a game
they're
far
0-3
in the
even
NIT.
though they've won. They're 0-3 ATS, exactly.
We'll roll through these cards after the break on SportsGrid.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't he be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manu Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Italy can't make the World Cup. That's wildly embarrassed.
Italy, to me, I think they're like the Cowboys, right? They're the Dallas Cowboys, basically. They're this ultimate sort of public team, big merch, monsters.
That's a good one.
Yet they really haven't won in a while. But we're talking about a world superpower.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Last year, this is kind of where Kalshi got on the radar, I think. They started with the Super Bowl last year, right, where they started taking a little bit of betting on the Super Bowl, but March Madness is where it took off. And over the course of the entire men's and women's tournaments last year, they took about $500 billion in trades. This year, first weekend, Thursday through Sunday, they're already past $1 billion traded.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
As a former pitcher who thought the umpires were wrong far more than people let on, I like the ABS system. But you're going to have problems because umpires are going to start having issue with the fact that they're being called out. Well, here's the thing. Umpires are now going to be treated like players. They're going to get publicly embarrassed when they make mistakes in front of the fans.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
All right, game time decisions. We are back here on SportsGrid. We're going to run through the cards. Just kind of what we were saying with the NIT, though, specifically. I do find Auburn's path here just fascinating. I give them credit for showing up to this tournament. I honestly do. I mean that. No facetiousness. Like, people weren't sure how that was going to play out. They've shown up. They're winning ball games. But I can't tell if this team being 0-3 against the number is they're actually not trying as hard as everybody thinks, and they're just like winning on talent, or the numbers super inflated because they're playing Seattle and South Alabama.
They're an SEC team. They're getting the SEC love.
It's a very, very tricky thing. So I didn't play this game because especially you mentioned how the numbers running all the way up to 8. Like, Auburn are better, but you know what? Wake were better. Dayton were probably better. And both of those teams dropped, and I think those were home games for those ball clubs.
Illinois State are a really good defensive team. Listen, I still like the over, but I couldn't, give every pick. Here we already have a ton of picks we're going to give. But Illinois State really slowed the tempo down, Kevin. It's going to, I think it's going to be a weird game for Auburn. A lot of these other teams sort of ran with them and stuff like that. Illinois State aren't. Illinois State are going to muck this game up, slow it down, get to the free throw line, play defense. And I always like sort of tough defensive teams when they're playing bad defensive teams, right? Because I know Illinois State will frustrate Auburn a bit, but then conversely, I think Illinois State will be like, wow, it's easier to score against these guys than we thought it would be, right? They don't play defense like Auburn. They really don't. They don't even pretend to kind of try, and their coach even admitted it. Remember, I brought it up. He said, yeah, in the offseason, we'll deal with that, right? Like right now, I got to coach the players that I have now, and they're a run-and-gun team playing. So you got to slow down the turtle versus the Greyhound here, literally and figuratively. So my picks, I'll start off here. And I told these guys, don't screw up my picks anymore. And, time and time again, they screw my pick up. I said New Mexico. No, I'm going to take full responsibility. So for everybody watching with no audio.
I wish you didn't.
No.
I wish you didn't do it.
Lobos. I screwed up. It's like placing a bet. I sent the picks in, and I said Tulsa -165.
Oh,
right? It's New Mexico,
can I just say quickly?
It's on me.
For everyone who, but Gabe just in the break said, "Don't worry, guys. I'll tell everyone it's my fault." I really, for a second, thought you were just going to be like, "They screwed it up. It is what it is. They let me down," and I thought you were going to leave it like that, and that would have been so good. That'd have been so good. But
yeah, that would have been real showbiz. Yeah.
Yeah,
you son of a bitch, you screwed my pickup. So I sent the wrong one. I don't know. Maybe it's a bad omen, actually. But give me New Mexico on the money line at -165. Give me the Stanford Cardinal plus the point. I'm going to go with Ibuka Okori, Kevin, talking about these kids. Right, he's got a decision to make. And I saw the Stanford coach say, guys, that it'll either be comeback or NBA. Like, he's not transferring like that. So Stanford don't really think, they're worried about the portal and all that. They think, he might be going to the NBA. So the question is, will he or won't he? But this Okori kid is on fire, guys. His prop tonight is 20.5. He scored. He's gone over this number in 7 of his last 9 games. Kid dropped 40 the other night. A couple of weeks ago, because they haven't played in a couple of weeks, etc. But give me Okori over 20.5 points. Over his last 8 games, he's averaging nearly 28 points a game. Give me Illinois State plus the points. And, Kevin, this is for you and everybody, the crew and everybody. Are you? Yeah, it's McDermott's last run. But I tell you what, Kevin, Rutgers played some good basketball over the last couple of weeks of the season, bro. Nearly knocked off Sparty in East Lansing, covered some numbers, won some games. I think Rutgers want to end strong here. And I think Creighton will feel a little pressure trying to win for their coach, longtime coach that's retiring after this. I got Creighton winning, but not by 6. Give me Luka over the 31.5. And And speaking of the NHL, give me the Montreal Canadiens to beat the Rangers tonight in New York.
All right, little NHL love as well. I got to just quickly on Ibuka at Corey, who did have an excellent season at Stanford, nearly 23 a game.
I
cannot figure out
personally.
Yeah, but I have no idea why he would go back to Stanford. I was like, oh, he must be a California kid. He's from Nashua, New Hampshire.
Yeah,
so
weird.
I don't know. Again, I feel like this is Gabe's territory to predict,
What do
but
you got?
he
What do you
must
got, though,
have a
Kev?
girlfriend
I
in
can't believe
Stanford.
time just flew.
Charlotte, New Orleans, over Spurs, Clippers, SGA and Lucas combo threes up to 6. Tulsa team total. Where are the picks in the back? I think it's a bunch of money lines here tonight from the crew. Metsies, Sabres, Clippers. So a lot of home cooking here in the best bet pile, Gabe. You ain't kidding. LA AJ closing out tonight. We'll see everybody tomorrow.
There's a basketball player who's 7'9". He's insignificant on his team. And quite frankly, I don't know if he goes Division 1, 2, or 3 at this point and will be significant. Joe, how can you be 7'9" and not be able to get on the court in college basketball? Shouldn't he be maybe, I don't know, the most dominant shot blocker in the history? I watched Manu Bol be a really good player at times in the NBA.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Italy can't make the World Cup. That's wildly embarrassed.
You know, Italy, to me, I think they're like the Cowboys, right? They're the Dallas Cowboys, basically. They're this ultimate sort of public team, big merch, like, you know, monsters.
That's a good one.
Yet they really haven't won in a while. But we're talking about a world superpower.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Last year, this is kind of where Kalshi got on the radar, I think. They started with the Super Bowl last year, right, where they started taking a little bit of betting on the Super Bowl, but March Madness is where it took off. And over the course of the entire men's and women's tournaments last year, they took about $500 billion in trades. This year, first weekend, Thursday through Sunday, they're already past $1 billion traded.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
As a former pitcher who thought the umpires were wrong far more than people let on, I like the ABS system. But you're going to have problems because umpires are going to start having issue with the fact that they're being called out. Well, here's the thing. Umpires are now going to be treated like players. They're going to get publicly embarrassed when they make mistakes in front of the fans.
Outspoken with Dan.
Prediction Markets Edge on the early line. It's a time for fun, as we like to say, and a new way to invest and take a different perspective in some of these sporting events, and also maybe some of those political environments.